Hey everybody, Clark Colborn here with the first in a series of short videos I'm going to do about some of the various guitars I own. I decided to start with this guy. This is the guitar I've owned the longest. It is also the oldest guitar that I own. It's a 1969 Gibson SG Junior. And I got this guy brand new. I was just a kid. When I bought this, it actually came with a case. It wasn't a hard case, it was just a chipboard case. As you can see, I still have it. It did its job well for many years. Let's talk about this guy. Like I said, it's a 1969. If you look close, you can see there's a lot of what they call crazing on the finish, which is just small cracks in the nitrocellulose. It's got the original tuning keys on it, which were open. They'd gather dust and cat hair and sweat and all kinds of stuff, and I had to clean it out all the time, keep them lubricated. It's got a nice slim neck. It plays really well. If we look at the back, you can see there's some residue. At one point I had a real aversion to what we call belt buckle rash on the backs of my guitars. I always had this in my mind that all my guitars I was going to sell at some point and buy something else, and so I wanted the guitar to be in as good a shape as possible. So I glued a thick coating of felt on the back of this guitar to protect it from my belt buckle, and it didn't really help. If you look close, you can see there's a lot of belt buckle rash there, and ultimately the felt peeled off. The other thing you can see on this is that it now has strap locks on it. When I originally bought it, strap locks weren't even a thing. But as soon as they became a thing, I put strap locks on. You can see, if you look at this bottom edge here, there's all kinds of chips and dings. Pretty much all of those are a result of my strap falling off mid-performance and me not maintaining control of the guitar and it colliding with a drum or a mic stand or the floor. So here's a picture of me right after the strap came off. I must have been 16 years old, maybe 17. I can't tell from this picture. But my strap fell off. Don't know what the guitar hit, something. But I grabbed it and just sat down on the floor in front of my amp so I could finish the song. It's hard to tell that this is the SG because my knee is up in front of the body. But if you look at the headstock and the neck, you can tell it's definitely my SG. Let's see, the vibrato. It's only good for stuff like that. And even that will throw it out of tune. So anyway, this is a really cool guitar. Like I said, it's a 1969. It's got a single P90 pickup in it. It's got the vibrola style vibrato bar, single volume, single tone. The bridge, I forget what they were calling this at the time. I think they were calling it a compensated bridge. So it's sort of adjusted like a tune-o-matic would be adjusted if it was adjusted perfectly for new strings. Intonation's fairly decent. When I got this, the amp I had was a Fender Bassman. I've got my Randall with the various modules in it with several of the amps I've owned over the years. And this first one is the Fender module. It sounds just like an old Fender Blackface. So when I bought this guitar, this is what it would have sounded like in my amp. I was thinking about this the other day, trying to remember some of the songs that I was learning at the time. I think I was in a neighborhood band. We were maybe doing a Creedence Clearwater song. And that's kind of the sound I was getting at the time. But this is actually a very cool sounding pickup in this guy, this P90. It's got some real cool spank to it. We were doing a lot of blues, so I would have been playing stuff like that. So that was sort of the sound that I was getting. But then I discovered, first time I was able to actually take the amp out of my parents' basement, I discovered if I cranked the volume all the way up, rolled the treble back just a little bit, I could get a halfway decent sound. So we were doing some Black Sabbath stuff. Stuff like that, a lot of Cream. And so that was sort of the sound I was getting. I'd roll the tone back, it's sort of between 7 and 8. If I was all the way on 10, it was a little bright to me. I'd roll it back, that seemed a little better. A lot of stuff, if I wanted what was normally a neck pickup sound, I'd roll the volume or the tone control way back. That's kind of what I was doing. And then eventually I got a Marshall, and I actually used this. I've also got my Marshall module in here. To give you an idea what this sounded like through the Marshall. It was still not quite the sound I wanted. I liked it, but it wasn't where I really wanted to be ultimately. Doing Humble Pie by this time. Took this pickup out at one point and replaced it with an original Gibson Dirty Fingers pickup, and I tuned it down to D, or drop D, and we used it for one single song in my band Cheater. It was called Mama Bell by Electric Light Orchestra, I think. So when I took this P90 out and put the Dirty Fingers in there, the pickup ring that came with the Dirty Fingers didn't fit with these holes. So like an idiot, I glued it to the pick guard. You can still see where the glue was when I took the Dirty Fingers out and put the P90 back in. And of course that was going through the Marshall. Mama Bell went something like that, I don't remember. So those P90s have a very distinctive sound. I like them a lot. I've used this guitar a lot for recording. I don't take this out for performances anymore because being a 1969 Gibson, it's in danger of leaving the scene without me, or getting broken, and I don't want that. So I only take relatively current production guitars that are easy to replace out on gigs. My parents helped me buy this thing, and I was so excited to have it. I was the envy of all the guitar players I knew because I had a real Gibson. It was very cool. But anyway, I've used this a lot because of the P90. It's got a great sound for recording, and I know of a lot of big-time guitarists that still like that P90. It's got a certain spank to it. It's different than a Fender single coil. It's got a growl that you can't get from a Fender single coil, but it's still got, when you roll the volume back, it's still got that really nice single coil spank. Now, if I run it through a modern high gain amp, you'll hear it still sounds very cool. that's the story on my SG Junior. I appreciate you stopping by and watching the video. Until next time, be kind, live well, and rock hard.